This is Mac OS Ken.
Ordering new iPhones, anticipating new operating systems, and buying like new iPads. It is Monday, the 16th of September, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management, your solution for MDM and identity and access management. Learn more at onepassword.com/macoscan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macoscan. As I know you know, the iPhone 16 line went up for pre-order on Friday. Aren't all orders pre-orders really? I mean, you ask for a thing, it takes some time, then you get the thing. I meant to say order, but whatever. Anyway, I asked you to write in about your ordering experience, and some of you did so. Some of you like Paul, who said, at 7 a.m. Central, I had opened my computer and iPhone to the store page. I was immediately placed in what seemed to be a holding room. After 3 minutes, the computer store opened and I ordered a new black 16 Pro with 1 terabyte of storage. Done in less than 90 seconds. We'll get it Friday, the 20th of September. My iPhone was still in the waiting room. Talking with a friend who also went through the same procedure, Paul says his friend kept hitting refresh on the computer's web page, which most likely reset his position in the waiting room, as 8 to 10 minutes later his phone allowed him to order, while his computer still had him waiting. Over on Mastodon, Eugene said, while the new iPhone 16 line might be a bit ho-hum if you have an iPhone 15, my 11 Pro was getting long in the tooth, and the new one looks great. I also completely missed out on the fun of the 5G supercycle, so I decided today was the day I would join the madhouse and order at 5 a.m. Pacific. I pre-ordered a 256GB natural titanium Pro model at 5:01. I had a confirmed order. One mark of confusion, at 5:01 the app said delivery would be the 30th of September, but the receipt by mail says the 20th. An unnamed emailer emailed to say, I attempted to connect to apple.com at 8 o'clock and 3 seconds Eastern. I got a screen telling me to stay on this page and they'll let me in when I can place my order. At about 8:18, the screen changed to allow me to place my order. Everything went fine with the order, including a trade-in, and I should get my iPhone 16 Pro 128GB black titanium delivered to my house on the 20th of September. And finally, Drew wrote to say, did the pre-order beginning of the week. Friday morning, woke up at 8:01 Eastern and waited about 1 minute on the same page where it said, stay on this page for your pre-order as they locate it. Then it came up, confirm, and it was exactly how I pre-ordered it on Monday or Tuesday morning, arriving next Friday, the 20th of September. My son did it 2 hours later, and his is arriving on the 7th of October. I ordered the 1 terabyte in white. Pricey, but you know, that new video is going to fill up space quickly. Paul, Drew, Eugene, nameless so-and-so. Thank you all for writing in. You all rock. Now, I did not order a new phone, not because they're ho-hum, but because money. That said, I did go through the motions Sunday afternoon. For the iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus, I could have ordered Sunday afternoon and still expected delivery this Friday, the 20th of September. Picking up in-store was also available this weekend. Roughly half the stores to a few more said that could still happen this Friday, while some said in-store pickup would not be possible until Saturday, the 21st. Sunday afternoon, iPhone 16 Pro showed delivery between the 3rd of October and the 8th of October. It was natural titanium, all capacities, though it did show that I could order and pick up at some area stores, though not all, this Friday, the 20th of September. for the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Delivery for orders made Sunday afternoon were slated for the 8th of October through the 15th. Though switching up colors and capacities meant I could order and pick up one of the phones at some area stores, though again, not all, either Friday the 20th of September or Saturday the 21st, depending. Now, it's tempting to say that all of that means the Pro end of the line is more popular than the consumer end. I can just hear the Apple should never make another iPhone Plus articles being written right now. The thing is, though, we don't know how production is going for the Pro line. We don't know how many of which end, Pro or less so, Apple produced. It is probable that people ordering opening weekend are either true Pro users or fans of Apple and iPhone and willing to spend on the most powerful, most feature-packed device they can get. I made a friend laugh one time when I said we will stand before the pearly gates before Apple tells us how many of what it sold in a given category. In terms of demand, opening weekend probably belongs to the Pro end of the iPhone 16 line. Educated though they may be, until and unless Apple actually says how many of what it sold, attempts to assert would just be guesses. Now, I wrote that before a Medium post from TF International analyst Ming-Chi Kuo hit with his numbers on Sunday afternoon. According to Young MC, iPhone 16 Pro series demand is coming in lower than expected. Based on his latest supply chain survey and pre-order results from Apple's official site, the analyst says first weekend pre-order sales are estimated at about 37 million units, down 12.7% year-on-year from last year's iPhone 15 series first weekend sales. The key factor is the lower than expected demand for iPhone 16 Pro series. The thing is, he seems to be basing that on the shorter delivery times for this year's Pro phones versus last year's. But last year, Apple was having trouble with the Tetra Prism components for iPhone 15 Pro, which stretched out those delivery dates. Also, did Apple start producing the consumer end of the iPhone 16 line in India for this launch? If so, isn't it possible that some production that would have gone to the consumer end in China has been shifted to the Pro end? And if that is the case, that could mean more Pro production in China this year than last, which could shorten delivery times. Assuming lower orders, Ming-Chi Kuo says that's down to two factors in his opinion. The first is the staggered rollout of Apple Intelligence, while the second is increased competition for iPhone in China. He says first weekend sales for the iPhone 16 Plus and the standard version were up year-on-year. Don't take that as good news, though. Their impact on total iPhone shipments is limited, according to the analyst. Finally, don't worry about it. That's not me saying that. That's actually Ming-Chi Kuo saying that. Quoting the analyst, despite the year-on-year decline in first weekend pre-order sales of the iPhone 16 Pro series, the supply chain's production plans are unlikely to change significantly in the near term. Apple still has opportunities to improve sales through the release of Apple Intelligence and peak season promotions, year-end holiday season in America and Europe, and Double 11 in China. These factors will be key points to watch for changes in iPhone demand. I really hope I don't forget to ask about this when they're fitting me for my Halo. If you think you will eventually have an iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max, know this: getting the battery replaced is going to cost more. I know, it's going to be a while before you have to worry about that, but it's still worth noting, as Apple Insider did, the new cost of an out-of-warranty battery replacement for the two larger models of the latest iPhone is $119, up from the $99 cost for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. The cost remains $99 for the regular iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus. Not saying that's a reason to stay on the consumer side. Also not saying that's a reason to get Apple Care. Though paying for that does include a battery replacement if or when the battery can no longer retain at least 80% of its original capacity. Just letting you know. The cost of battery replacement is going up. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, 1Password Extended Access Management. Think of your company's security like a park with well-laid paths. Those paths are the devices your company gives out, the apps your company approves, the IDs your company assigns. Then there are the paths that people actually use, the trampled-down shortcuts that are the easiest way to get from point A to point B. Those are unmanaged devices, apps that aren't approved by IT, and IDs that really should have been temporary. Your security has those well-laid paths covered, but who's watching what people are actually doing and using? That is where 1Password Extended Access Management comes in. It brings all those unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control, making sure that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional identity and access management and mobile device management miss. It is security for the way people work today. It's available now to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at onepassword.com/macOSKen. That's onepassword.com/macOSKen. The operating systems for your Apple hardware are all getting updates today, assuming your hardware is current enough to handle them. iOS and iPadOS 18, macOS 15 Sequoia, watchOS 11, tvOS 18, and visionOS 2 are all set for release with lots of new features. Apple Intelligence not among them. Elements of Apple's answer to AI won't start hitting until sometime next month. We did health and safety and privacy and security features on Friday's episode of The Checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. We did new features here earlier this summer, though we may revisit some this week. In fact, why don't I leave that to you? Once you download any of Apple's updated operating systems, tell me what you like. What new features have cranked your motor? You can leave me a voicemail, 716-780-4080. You can also send me an electronic mail, an electronic M, some people call them, info@macoscan.com. There is a big change definitely worth mentioning tied to one of today's updates. Engadget ran a piece on Friday saying that the iPadOS 18 update will herald the arrival of third-party app stores for the European Union. Users will first have to update to iPadOS 18 before they can access such alternative stores as AltStore Pal and the Epic Games Store, according to the report. New features in third-party app stores aren't the only things coming with today's OS updates. A piece from Mac Rumors says there are also new terms and conditions for iCloud. The 4 changes spotted by the site. Later this year, there will be a name change from Apple Distribution International Limited to Apple Services Pte Limited for a number of countries. I'm honestly not sure whether that's a name change or an actual corporate shuffle, and it honestly probably means nothing to affected users. A clause was added about statutory rights under Australian consumer law, according to the report. Apple ID references have been changed to Apple Account throughout. And one that should be a given, but I guess it's good that Apple is stating it categorically. iCloud users must agree to not engage in any activity that exploits, harms, or threatens children in any way, including without limitation producing, sharing, uploading, or storing child sexual abuse material, or CSAM. And isn't it a terrible planet where you have to say that? As I say, those are 4 changes spotted by Mac Rumors. They can't say for certain that they're the only 4 changes, and encourage people to read the terms themselves before agreeing to them. If you're in the market for an iPad and are cool with a new to you model, you may want to hit up Apple's refurbished store. 9to5Mac says the store in the States has added the M2 iPad Pro and the M1 iPad Air to its wares. They're both older machines, each having been released in 2022. That said, they are both modern enough to support Apple Intelligence once Apple Intelligence is actually a thing. Apple's refurbished products go through a stringent refurbishment process. They come with original accessories, in this case a USB-C cable and a power adapter, and a standard 1-year warranty. They're also eligible for Apple Care, and they cost less because even if they are good as new, they're not new. But they're new to you. And finally today, the 76th Annual Emmy Awards were last night, and Apple won 2 of them. Will Smith, not that one, won for writing the Slow Horses episode, Negotiating with Tigers. And the other one, seriously, there were so many nominations for the morning show, yet only one Emmy awarded, and it's one the show's won before. Congrats to Billy Crudup, who took home the statue for supporting actor in a drama series. Last night marked the 3rd time Crudup was nominated for that award for that role, and the 2nd time he won it. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Learn more at onepassword.com/macOScan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOScan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.